everyone, to this week's Really Big Fan Pod. I'm your host, ChZuck, joined by my co-host, ACRONYM.
Hello.
And this week, we're going to be talking to somebody who used to be a co-host on a podcast I was on, the One Fall Show, Mr. Justin Valentine, or JV Sports Talk, as he's known online. He is still podcasting in the wrestling world, and that's what we're going to talk about because SummerSlam is in Detroit this weekend.
Whoop, whoop.
So he's got a lot of fun stuff to talk about. How you doing?
That's a loaded question.
It is a loaded
question. My car is messed up, so I'm a little sad today.
Yeah, so please hit our Patreon as quickly as you can.
Yeah, right.
It's where you can also you can get our bonus show, our double feature, which I just recorded the second episode of a couple nights ago. So we'll have that up this weekend too. So if you need more ChZuck in your life, along with all of the cast of characters that entails that are in my orbit, then by all means.
Yeah, because as if Justin doesn't get his way, there will be a kinky episode.
It's a little teaser for what you can look forward to us talking about. And with that teaser, headlines it is. I did that like Yoda.
Headlines.
It is. So the big news last week was, of course, Barbie and Oppenheimer opening and everyone going to see it. Mike, who does the double feature podcast with me, I think texted me and said it was a perfect movie. No notes. I was like, calm down, Mike. Calm down. I know you like Christopher Nolan. Just calm down.
You know it's Oppenheimer, right?
Is it Oppenheimer? I thought it was Oppenheimer.
Yeah, Tony texted me and he goes, does Chuck know he's not saying it right? And I said, he might, and he might just be doing it on purpose.
Well, now I will. I thought it was that poster with DMX where it's up in here, up in here.
That's probably what did it, to be honest.
Right. But I just read this morning that they made a specific lens for the IMAX cameras for Oppenheimer.
Wouldn't be surprised.
Yes, they were talking to the IMAX guy that works with Christopher Nolan, and he said as much as they wanted to do it in IMAX, part of the sequences they realized they needed to shoot a lot of micro photography, and IMAX doesn't have those kind of possibilities. So they had a guy from Panavision built them a pro lens that they experimented with and then improved upon for the micro work and the macro work.
We just used some Panavision stuff on something that I worked on.
Yeah. That's why
once we know when it's coming out, I'll actually tell people what I was working on.
Right, then you can plug it. Right now you're under an NDA.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought it was, if anyone was going to get a IMAX lens made for them specifically.
Yep, it would be Christopher Nolan, yep.
Absolutely. Be Christopher Nolan.
We've got some sad news.
What is that?
So I have to rescind my "Oh my God, I love Lizzo" rant like 4 episodes ago.
Why is this?
She's apparently being sued by part of her dance team for making them touch strippers and eat a banana that was in a stripper's vagina and
that's not cool.
Fat shaming them, which doesn't make any sense because she usually isn't fat shaming people.
Right.
So there's just been a lot that's come forward, and then a lot of the team has vocally come forward after that saying, like, no, these people are right. Like, this happened. So Lizzo isn't as nice as I thought she was.
Lizzo's going to have to try to be a better person.
I know.
That's
that
sad
was
because
horrible.
Just yesterday you were showing me that she did that Sailor Moon cosplay.
I
that was all the
know.
ribbons, and that was really cute.
Yeah. Nope. It's
do better, Lizzo.
It's sad. I'm very, very sad. If I find out that Dave Grohl or Haley Williams are awful, I'm just gonna die. So both of you guys, behave yourselves.
What was it? I just saw a really cute picture of Dave Grohl with a couple of days ago.
It might have been with Haley.
It might have been. I don't remember, but it was like him. Oh no, it was Rivers from Weezer.
Oh, cute. Of course it was. You're on Weezer. Yep. Weezer Vision.
I am on Weezer Vision for sure. Going back to the movies, we now have the release date for the Across the Spider-Verse Blu-ray. It is a little over a month away, September 5th.
Awesome.
And we'll be able to get our hands on that and then watch it a billion times again.
Yes, we will watch it over and over and over and over and over until the other one gets back on a thing. Whoop.
Oh, no.
First time chat. Hey there.
Hello, Lefantic Gamer. Glad to have you aboard. Also, speaking of movies, Hall Gaming was just saying in our chat before we get started, he's seen the Ninja Turtles movie already. I know it comes out basically today.
Yeah.
So I'm sure we'll be in the theater in the next couple of days to check it out because we're both super excited about it.
Yeah. Weren't we thinking about doing that today?
Yeah.
That was
I was like,
the
maybe.
conversation we had.
Yeah, maybe go do the grocery shopping after the podcast and then find out what the next showing is.
So you're not streaming tonight.
See, something always comes up.
Yep. I'm so excited about it. Apparently, you've been telling people at the comic book store how excited I am about it.
I have, because I think it's adorable because, like, I like Ninja Turtles, but, like, you know Ninja Turtles through me.
Yes.
And you're the one that's actually really excited to see this
It just
movie.
looks so good, and the voice cast is so good.
The voice
I'm
cast
so
is
excited
amazing.
to see how well it goes. And it's got 98% or 96% on Rotten Tomatoes currently.
I think it was like 97% for the official reviewers and 93% for the people just going to see it.
Yeah.
So that's pretty high.
I did see one headline, and of course they could be sensationalizing it, but I did see one headline that was like, if you thought that Spider-Man was your favorite animated movie this summer, you might want to reconsider.
And
I
that's
was like, wow,
that's
that's
a
some big
high
win.
bar.
Yeah, I don't know if it's gonna top Spider-Man for me, but I think it's gonna be pretty close. So
Stay tuned.
yeah,
We'll probably have something to say about it next week.
yeah.
But while it's hitting the theaters, they actually announced last weekend at San Diego Comic-Con that Nickelodeon finally owns the rights to the 1987 animated show. And they're going to be, they've already got episodes streaming on Pluto TV on their Turtles channel. And it's going to kind of, they've got the first season on YouTube. You can just go and watch it on YouTube for free.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool. So
That's fun.
I'm so happy you got me that box set.
Yeah.
Because if that stuff disappears, as stuff can,
Stuff can.
then I've always got a copy of it
Yeah, there we
that I
go.
can watch. What else have I got here? Oh, okay. So this also kind of came about at Comic-Con, but it's been news over the last couple of days. One of the Transformer sites that I frequent that gave me all the pictures of stuff from Comic-Con also talked to some of the people who make the toys. And currently they are making toys based on the video games The Fall of Cybertron and War for Cybertron, my favorite video game, my favorite Transformers games of all time. And they asked them, you guys are making toys out of this. Is there, what's the possibility of re-releasing these games?
Right.
And the quote from there, I can't remember who said it, was that, oh, shit. I had it right here. Give me a second.
Because where is it?
I'm so professional. Sadly, Activision's not sure what hard drives they're on in their building. When a company eats a company that eats a company, things get lost, and that's very frustrating. Was the official word on that. Yesterday, after Kotaku published a story about it, like that was on my Transformer site.
Yeah.
Kotaku published a story about it on Monday. Immediately, the CCO and EVP of Activision said, these headlines are wrong. We have the code. It's not lost, and it never was. So it's this weird game of tennis going on between Activision and Hasbro when
Right.
fans are like, why aren't these on Game Pass? Why don't you make new versions of these? Why aren't they? And they're just like, it's not me. It's them.
Yeah, they're like, oh, well, they don't know where it is. I'm
Right.
like, really, though? Really? I can't find the link, but speaking of Transformers, I know I tried to send it to you. I don't know if it got to you, but apparently Michael Bay still has control to some extent over the movies.
Yeah, we watched Rise of the Beast last week, and
Yeah.
he was in the credits as like an executive producer or something.
Yeah.
So I think he's not like fully in control of it, but he's a voice in the room now.
Yeah, so apparently there was a specific ending that they wanted to do, and I'll just like avoid saying what it is.
Okay.
Because people probably still haven't seen it yet. But apparently they had to call Michael Bay almost 50 times to get him to sign off on it, because he didn't want to.
So what you're telling me is that anything that I don't like in the new Transformers movie, I can still blame on Michael Bay.
Yes.
All
exactly.
right.
Yeah, it's specifically the end
Yeah.
of the movie, the specific twist at the end of the movie. He did not want to do that. he felt that it cheapened the movie.
Okay.
And then the person that wrote the article, which I think I sent it to you with like, God, this article is savage, said, you didn't want to cheapen the movie, but you did 2 more movies even though they both sucked. And I was like, shit, this journalist is going in.
Yeah. Also a very passionate Transformers fan, whoever
Yes.
that journalist is.
Yes.
We're brothers or sisters. It's all good. Do you remember the movie Holes?
Like, I'm tired of this, Grandpa.
Exactly.
It's too damn bad. I think that's from Holes.
Well, there's an anime and video game convention in Austin, Texas called DreamCon. And over the weekend, one of the actors from Holes, Khalil Thomas, won a Mortal Kombat tournament dressed as Powerline from a Goofy movie.
Yes. I hope he did the dance at the end. If he didn't do the eye-to-eye perfect cast, that whole thing was for naught.
Right. What a wild, like, when I started that sentence, you could not have predicted where it was going to end.
Yeah. There's been a couple of those lately, and everybody's just like, did an AI write this headline?
Holes, Mortal Kombat, Goofy movie. It's wild.
I'm more interested to know why that model that is with him has a Deftones logo on her upper thigh.
It's a little weird. That's right there. It's a little strange. All right, I've got one more story for you, and it involves a guy that we both have a lot of love for, Post Malone. So we found out during the pandemic that Post Malone is a huge Nirvana fan.
Yes.
When he, did that cool live stream where he played a bunch of Nirvana songs. It did a great job.
Mm-hmm.
Post Malone is also a huge Magic the Gathering fan.
Why am I not surprised?
And you may remember a couple of weeks ago, I told you about the Lord of the Rings set that Magic the Gathering has out and how there's only one of the One Ring.
Yeah.
He just bought it for $2 million.
Not shocked.
Off of the person that pulled it. And he'd previously had bought a Black Lotus, which is a long out-of-print card, for $800,000.
Yeah.
So if you're playing Magic the Gathering against Post Malone, he is going to outspend you.
Yes, absolutely.
But it's going to be fun to watch him drop cards that are worth hundreds of thousands of dollars.
I have to wonder if he just he's gonna play with other celebrities that also like it and just have Magic the Gathering things at his house.
I would watch the shit out of Celebrity Magic the Gathering. Because they all have, because that was always my problem with Magic the Gathering, is that whoever spends the most money is probably going to be the winner. You the more money you spend, the less skill you need. You still need to know what you're doing. You can't just randomly play cards. But the more, it's an arms race, and the more you have access to, the less hard you have to think about it.
Right. It's a metaphor for life.
It would be fascinating to watch, like Logan Paul is super into Pokemon cards and shit. To watch these celebrities who are just blowing through money play these cards that I'll never own.
I don't know. I feel like that's too much of a parallel in life of you got so much money, that's why you can win the game.
A little bit.
Last one for you before we go into our interview. This is specifically for the local people. So if you're not local, I apologize. But there are multiple chances coming up this week to meet WWE superstars. So WWE posted that there's an event presented by C4, and that's going to be meet superstars Seth Rollins and Rhea Ripley. Mommy.
Yeah.
So you can meet them at Great Lakes Crossing. And it says they will be at Great Lakes Crossing Outlet's parking lot. So I don't know if
it's going to be
making people stand outside to do it.
It's going to be a tent outside.
Yes.
Because it's summertime.
And so that is going to be taking place from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. On August 4th.
I don't know if I'd want to meet a celebrity after I've been standing in line in the sun for probably an hour or more.
Yeah, you definitely would be probably kind of sweaty, but wrestling fans are also, predominantly also sweaty.
Sure. Right.
Not as bad as, going to Youmacon.
There's going to be a there's going to be a big sign saying, please do not touch Seth Rollins' clothes or Rhea Ripley.
Right. The other one is going to be on 8/5, which is Saturday, and that is going to be in the morning, I believe, of Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens are going to be at a Cricket Wireless in Madison Heights.
Ah.
From 9 a.m. to 11 a.m.
That's fun.
You got a couple chances here to meet some of the big ones. I'm surprised that they're letting Sammy and Kevin do that, considering how big of they were part of the bloodline, but maybe it's because they're not in that angle anymore. They're gonna put them there. But it's pretty cool. You have all these different chances. One of the things that I did see that was sent to me was that there are no autographs. So if you're an autograph hound, you're not getting one. It's just a picture.
Yeah, you can just get a picture.
So you can have it says have your phones ready. So you hand your phone to the handler and you get your photo taken. So be respectful, obviously, of those people and don't act like they should be signing things for you because they've had enough of that, especially at airports. So.
If I went with you as support, would you get your picture with Rhea Ripley?
Yeah, I would go. Yeah. But you can't because you're working.
I am working. Definitely.
I still am thinking about it. I don't know. I don't know if I want to spend my entire morning waiting.
Yeah.
To just get a photo taken.
Well, because it's Rhea Ripley and Seth Rollins, you can while you're in line, you can keep yourself busy with the rest of the crowd by going, whoa.
Oh God. I literally will have my earplugs in.
I'm sure Sammy will get a lot of that too.
Oh, yeah. I would be more excited to see people singing Sammy's song.
Same here.
Because it's exciting.
Yeah.
The other one is just ominous.
Yeah.
Very weird.
I still don't understand it. I don't know where it started.
It's basically like Seth Rollins' theme somehow became Seven Nation Army.
Yeah.
I don't know how that happened.
At least the Fandango theme was fun.
I still, every time that anybody does that motion, I see Tim in my head doing lucha, lucha, lucha. So,
all right. Well, if you're not here for the wrestling talk, you're in the wrong place because next up we're going to talk to Justin Valentine about his love of the WWE and professional wrestling when the Really Big Fan podcast returns. Welcome back, everyone, to the Really Big Fan Pod. Today is a special occasion because we complete the number of guests that used to be podcasting with me on the One Fall show. We've had Shawnee on, we've had Erica, we've had Nate on, and now Justin, my boy.
He's the hardest one to get.
He's a busy man.
Oh, don't make me feel bad. I always make time for you. well, maybe more than Chuck, but I'll make time for you.
That's fair. He does love you more than he loves me.
It's true.
That's true. That's very true.
I love you, Chuck.
Yeah, that's good. So yeah, we
I love you too is usually the response.
Like we're
it's fine.
You see why I like Amy more. Come on, like.
See, because I express my love to Justin, and I must hug him every time I'm physically in his presence.
That's fair. Yeah. He gives good hugs.
He does give good hugs. The best, in fact.
I haven't got one in a long time.
Oh,
we'll have to make that happen soon.
Yeah, I agree. So, Justin, we're thrilled to have you on the Really Big Fan podcast. When I reached out to you and I was like, hey, we got a new podcast and it's not just about wrestling. It's about anything you're a big fan of. I gave you your perfect opportunity to tell us all about 21 Pilots. And you said, no, I want to talk about wrestling.
Oh, you know what? That's a good point. Look, I spend so much time talking about wrestling. I don't know what else to talk about.
Fair.
To be fair, 21 Pilots hasn't done anything new in a minute. So, that could be my reason. I'll just say that's my reason.
All right.
But
that gives us a reason to have you on again.
Yeah.
You see, I like the way you think. This is why I like you, Chuck. Right there.
It's the only reason he likes me.
Yes.
The only reason.
You sometimes use your brain.
Right.
Good job, dude. This is why you host a podcast. This is fantastic.
Only sometimes.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're talking wrestling because this weekend, as this podcast drops, is SummerSlam right here in Detroit City. And Justin, you've been a busy beaver over at Beasley. You've been interviewing a bunch of people leading up to SummerSlam with your the podcast that you've got for the Roar Detroit. Yes. And we'll get into that in a minute. But let's start at the beginning. What are your first memories of professional wrestling?
My first memories, not being old enough to stay up to watch. I started watching wrestling at 3 years old.
Okay.
The year 2000, right? So like everyone looks at me like a little kid. You don't remember. I do remember. And we had a friend that lived about 3 houses down that was maybe about 5 years older than me. He hung out with my brother, and he would always record every Raw, every SmackDown, every pay-per-view. And on his way to school, he would drop off that tape, VHS tape. Yes, I know what that is. And he would drop that off at my house, and I would be able to watch Raw, SmackDown, the pay-per-views the morning after. And every week, it never failed. Every Monday, every Thursday, some Sundays, always was able to watch it. And I've just been watching it ever since.
And this is before you were even in preschool.
Yeah, 3 years old. 3 years old. Just about to turn 4. It really was at the beginning of the year 2000. My birthday's in March, so we'll say 4. Fine. 3 turning into 4. It has never stopped. My dad's into it. My brother used to be into it, like heavy with me. Now he kind of is in and out. My dad still watches every single week. So the connection is there within the family. And now I've been able to turn it into, my job side of things. So it just won't leave me.
How many injuries have you sustained trying to do wrestling moves as a small child?
Okay. So the funny thing about this, and I hate saying anything like this because I might jinx myself. I am not one to get sick often or hurt, right? I've never had I like broken bone. Like, okay, I've had open heart surgery. I've had some stitches.
Sure.
But I've never had a broken bone. And I think part of that is because I did so much to my body being a fan of wrestling growing up, and realized what I can get myself through. My brothers and I and our friends used to have full-on matches. We would create tables and put each other through tables. I don't know how I didn't get a concussion or break anything. I can specifically remember putting a lid of some container on the top of 2 chairs, and that was our table, and being slammed through it, but it didn't break like we hoped it would. And I just landed on it and just slid backwards and went headfirst toward the floor. I specifically remember that one because I have no idea how I didn't, because I got right back up and continued the match.
Yeah.
I had to ask that question because at 3 years old, I was a mimicker.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so anything that I watched, like I would mimic immediately, which is why I wasn't allowed to watch a lot of stuff.
For sure.
And I definitely tried to fly once like Peter Pan.
Yeah.
And slammed my head into a cedar chest and gave myself the biggest goose egg on my head. So as soon as he was like 3 years old, I'm like, oh shit, there's got to be an injury somewhere in here.
You're dropping an elbow off of the couch onto some pillows.
Yeah.
That was for my mom's sanity, because my dad didn't care. My dad he was watching it too. My mom was the one worried. Fortunately for her, the pillows were my constant opponents.
Yes.
So it wasn't anything too hard or anything. Yes, I was jumping on stuff. Yes, I broke plenty of couches because the armrest was my turnbuckle.
Yep.
But when it comes to getting hurt, I was landing on pillows more time than not, or beds. So I was okay.
Good.
Yeah, I remember going through that phase.
Yeah.
Watching professional wrestling of like, oh, I want to do leg drops like Hulk Hogan. I want to do Randy Savage elbows.
But you did them on a trampoline.
No, I mean as a kid.
Oh, okay.
Like watching Monday, before it was Monday Night Raw, when it was Gorilla Monsoon and Bobby Heenan doing commentary, and they would show like house show matches. I remember putting that on the TV on Monday nights on USA, and then getting all the cushions from the couch and putting them on the floor and jumping on them.
And they always say, don't try this at home, and all of you do.
Every time. I think it's just a legal thing at this point. They know
you're gonna do it.
The kids are gonna try to do it.
We have to say it, but you're gonna do it. The problem, my favorite wrestler growing up was Rob Van Dam. So
oh no.
Exactly. Thank you, because you know where I'm going with this.
Yep.
5-star frog splash, flipping around, doing the splits, all that stuff. I wanted to do that. He was from Michigan too.
Yep.
So like I was RVD all the way through, and I wanted to be him and his prime was what, like 2001 to 2007. So you're talking 5-year-old Justin through 11-year-old Justin.
So RVD was your guy.
He was my guy growing up. John Cena, I was that typical kid, and I'm not talking like 2008, 9, 10, 11 Cena. I'm talking 2004 and 5 John Cena.
Oh, you were the perfect age for John. John Cena was your Hulk Hogan.
He was, and again, I'm not talking about the Fruity Pebbles John Cena. I'm talking about full-on rapping, Doctor of Thugonomics, Chain Gang, his rap album. I bought that.
You were way too young for that album.
I had that. I had the headband. I met him. I got his autograph. I had the spinner belt. I had the U.S. title spinner belt, the WWE. I had everything John Cena. But before that, and consistently through, Rob Van Dam was always so damn cool to me. So cool. I've always been an RVD guy.
Nice. Very cool. So is it safe to assume that some of your first words were "suck it" and "hell yeah"?
Yeah, honestly, yeah. Like the middle finger was like, so because of Stone Cold Steve Austin, middle finger was,
Yep.
popular in my household. Excuse me.
I'm also curious because you said your dad was also a fan of wrestling, and I know that once I got older and came back to watching wrestling, it became a lot more of understanding the theater of it and how these guys do this on a constant basis without actually killing each other. Was he, when he was watching you guys wrestle, would he be like, tuck your head, was he like teaching you guys how to actually do the stuff, or is he just sitting back and watching the kids fight?
Sitting back and watching the kids fight. He was partaking a lot of the times. We had all the action figures. We had the fake rings. So we were doing that. One of our favorite games, and we'd always do this during Monday Night Raw. I don't know why not during SmackDown, but during Monday Night Raw, we had a half wall, and we would line up some action figures along the half wall and sit across from the half wall, and the game was shooting rubber bands and try to knock them off.
Yep.
And I specifically remember being the one to have to go pick up the wrestlers after they were, knocked down. And I was ducked behind a half wall, and there was still a wrestler up. And I just hear my dad say, "Heads up." And my response was putting my head up and like, what?
Oh, no.
Perfect timing for a rubber band to get me right between the eyes. It was a beautiful moment.
Yeah.
So my dad was partaking in me getting hurt while watching wrestling.
That's fun.
Yes.
So how long was it before Dad took the kids to their first live wrestling event?
My first live wrestling event, 2003? No, 2002. I'm sorry. Vengeance was here in Detroit, Joe Louis Arena. And so I went there as a 6-year-old, and they were, shout out to my parents. They were pretty consistent. Now I don't remember because I was 6, 7 years old, but it felt like every time they were here, we went to Raws and SmackDowns in 2003 and 4. We were at Survivor Series in 2005. So yeah, like honestly, up until like 2006 or 7, we were pretty consistently going to shows. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. At the Palace as well, we went to a live event, and I specifically remember that because Taz was standing about 3 rows ahead of us the entire show, and it was the first time I've seen him in person, and it looks completely different than the Taz I envisioned on TV.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, we didn't have HD back then, so like standard definition only gave you so much of how a person actually looks. I went back and forth the entire show, like, wait, that's Taz. No, it's not Taz. Wait, that is Taz. Oh, that's crazy.
I do that so much in public.
Oh, yeah.
Like, is that person? No.
Oh, I thought you meant when you see people in public, you go, "That's Taz." No, that's
no.
You just
I'm
awkwardly
honestly
stare at
surprised they
someone.
haven't run into Rhino anywhere.
He's another local guy.
Yeah, like he's one that I feel like I should have ran into by now, but haven't.
Right.
Shout out to him for staying in it, busy. Guys like him, Billy Gunn, Goldust, Dustin Rhodes, like, man, like these guys just keep going, and they don't have to, and they do.
I cannot
and they
believe
still look
Billy
good.
Gunn looks as good as he does at his age.
Oh,
Like, I'm
yeah.
like, that guy is still.
It is wild that particular generation they did lose a lot of people too, but the guys who have survived to their old age are in pretty decent shape.
Right. I mean, we talk a lot about like the Undertaker and, even Brock Lesnar or other guys who have gone 20 plus years, how old Ric Flair did it, Shawn Michaels, and so on. We don't talk enough about these guys that are still doing it because they're not main event guys. So we're not,
Right.
freaking out about them. Billy Gunn's just, casually hanging out with the Acclaim. Dustin Rhodes is just casually on AEW, but it's like, they look great. And when you put them in a match, they can still put on a quality match. You don't feel like you're watching a 50, 60-year-old. Christian Cage is another one. Now, he's not as old as the others, but still looks phenomenal. I would put a Dustin Rhodes, a Billy Gunn match over an Edge match. Edge looks great at his age, but when it comes to right now, Billy Gunn and Dustin Rhodes look better and can still put on a better match, technically speaking, than Edge right now.
I can agree with that.
Well, I mentioned earlier that you have been working with the Roar Detroit, and you've got your show that you do over there. How did that come about? How did you transition from being a fan to actually, covering wrestling for someplace?
Yeah, it's crazy. It's a dream of mine. My dad keeps telling me 6-year-old Justin's freaking out. 6-year-old Justin's freaking out. It's one of those things, especially in our industry with podcasting and hosting. The content is better when you're doing something you're passionate about, right?
For sure.
I'm a sports guy. I've always been a sports guy. I don't play sports. I've never been able to play sports because of my heart condition and so on, but I've always been passionate about it. If I was doing a show, or in general doing a show where I was talking about anything else, it wouldn't be good because I don't care, right? And we're not actors. I'm not an actor, so I can act all I want to care about something. If I don't care, it's going to come off that I don't care. And I've always kept it in my mind. I've always done my own type of stuff. And then just fortunately, when it comes to actually doing it, right place, right time situation, WWE continues to get bigger and bigger. The industry in general continues to get, bigger and bigger now with AEW around, and they're doing their thing as well. And it just turned into that thing where it's like, I stuck to my guns. This is what I like to do. This is what I like to talk about. And this is what I want to do. And, the power of social media, being able to sell something and me finding a way to sell it and allowing the powers that be to let me do it. And, I get laughed at a lot by, the powers that be when I'm like, yeah, I do a show about wrestling. And it's like, the stereotypical, haha, whatever.
Right.
But results are results. And here we are. Right. So
I can understand that, definitely. Like, literally everything you just said I can identify with, like, on my concert side of things, and even just like working in general. Like, if I'm not invested in something, it doesn't come out great. And when you have all of these opportunities that kind of end up coming your way, everybody's like, well, how did you get there? And like, sometimes it literally is just like luck of the draw situation, but it matters what you do with that opportunity when you get it. And if you can run with it and you have the right mindset to run with it, you can do it.
Yeah. I mean, it's knowing the right people, being in the right place, but you said it, like, it's doing the most with that opportunity. There's plenty of other people in your situation, Amy, and your Chuck and mine, where they could have been in the same place, and they are in the same place. And some people do something with it and some people don't. And it depends on what you want to do. And again, you can be in the right place. You can know the right people. And you could be right there. If you don't know what to do with it, nothing's going to happen with it.
Truth.
Right. So leading up to SummerSlam being here in Detroit, you've gotten to talk to some pretty big names in the WWE for your videos and your podcast. First of all, drop some names for us. Who have you talked to in the last 6 months from the WWE for this?
For WWE specifically, because we did have AEW here as well, so I was able to chat.
Oh, that's right. Yep.
Those guys. Yep. So Ricky Starks came on. Huge man crush on Ricky Starks. I just had to.
You guys do kind of have the same hair.
And maybe that's it, but like my better half is not a fan of Ricky Starks anymore because of me. But okay, yeah. Talking WWE, the entire New Day, Big E, Kofi Kingston, Xavier Woods at one point or another.
Awesome.
USFL did a lot of work with them. The Michigan Panthers, Big E was their home game MC. The entire New Day was at the home game finale. I got to talk with them. Got to talk with Santos Escobar, Raquel Rodriguez, Cody Rhodes. And then this weekend, I'm going to be able to touch base with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn.
Excellent.
It's a lot of fun. Again, you told me to name drop. I hate name dropping, but that's what you told me.
No, but I wanted to know. I wanted to hear.
When you asked for the name drop versus it just interjecting into every conversation,
right?
Then that's the
fair.
problem.
I don't want to be that guy that just yeah. So I was talking to
this person,
Kevin Owens.
Right. So I'll give you the opportunity when we're done here to plug your stuff. But right now, if people want to see some of these video or interviews or hear some of them, where can they find them? RoarDetroit.com. Roar Around the Ring is the name of the online. It's not a podcast. It's online only. It's a video segment. Myself, Daryl Teeler, that dude, Daryl Teeler, does it with me. On social media at Roar Detroit, Roar _ Detroit on Instagram. A lot, it's a weekly
video segment episode where we talk about everything WWE, AEW, go over the stuff that was. And yes, we sprinkle in some interviews and some fun stuff in between.
Excellent. That's excellent. So we haven't talked very much since the last time we did a One Fall show. I'm interested. How are you feeling about the state of professional wrestling, whether it's AEW or WWE, or even my favorite, Impact Wrestling?
Your favorite Impact Wrestling. That's so true.
He acts like he watches Impact every week. He does.
I know Darren McCarty is wrestling at Impact right now. And that's amazing.
And that's somebody I'm trying to get a hold of, which you would think is not that hard. I'm definitely going to be chatting with him soon about that.
Just show up to every weed event, you'll find him.
Exactly. So I think it's in a phenomenal spot. Obviously you have your WWE fans, your AEW fans, and you're both fans. I'm both. It's such a great thing. Wrestling as an art, as an industry, is so amazing because of the fact of it's a combination of things that people love, right? You love sports, you love the drama, you love, like, whether it's sitcoms or soap operas, you love stunts, you love whatever it is, and it's all of that into one. It's scripted, but it's live. It can change on a dime. It is the one thing, and a lot of sports and shows, whenever they're talking it up, they always use the phrase, "You never know what's going to happen." Just when you think you know what's going to happen, no, you don't. To me, professional wrestling is the only industry that can 1000% confidently say that. Period.
Yeah, because somebody gets injured or something, they have to absolutely shift gears.
Exactly. The human element is in it. It's live, right? We have SummerSlam this weekend. Now, I don't want to speak anything horrible into existence, but something weird happens on Friday on SmackDown, and Roman Reigns, Jey Uso can't make it. Guess what? The show still goes on.
Yep.
Right. And we've seen instances like that. Some not so great, and some in a more positive light, where something happened where it's like, okay, this is the plan, but we got to go this route. And
I feel like that Snoop Dogg segment was like the first one in recent memory that popped into mind when you guys were bringing that up about how things can change on a dime. Where example. Like you have something happen in the ring. Who was even the one that was injured? I'm blanking.
Shane McMahon.
Okay, so Shane, he went to go do something. He hurt himself, and then you heard like the ref saying to Snoop Dogg, like, do something, like go drop an elbow, whatever. So Snoop does it, and he knows the show goes on, so he just jumped into it and did it. But like you could tell the look on the Miz's face was just like, oh shit, this is bad. And like, luckily everybody collectively moved on it fast. But that's like one thing, like I always say this, is that I always feel very uncomfortable agreeing with Jim Cornette on things. Sure. It always makes me uncomfortable. But one thing that he said in one of the Dark Side of the Ring, he got really emotional during the Brawl for All episode. And he talks about like, I hate when people call this fake, because it's not fake. You got guys putting their bodies on the line, they're breaking their bodies down, they're taking injuries, they're doing all this stuff. It's scripted, yes. It's, the winners are usually predetermined, but that doesn't mean it's fake. Right. And I feel like that's something that anytime we talk about wrestling as a whole and talk about that particular part of it is very important to the whole, mixing bowl of it.
Yeah. And that's the thing too, when somebody says, oh, don't you know that stuff's fake, that you kind of like, you can get angry at them, but really what you need to present to them is that it's not that it's fake, it's that it's theater, and it's improv, and it's, like you said, it's stunt work, and it's all these things all together. And when it's great, there is nothing like it in the world. I think we got to see this past year, between the Sami Zayn, Roman Reigns stuff, actually everything with the bloodline has been like the best thing ever.
Yeah. Well, and and when anyone says fake, okay, fake is the movies that you love. Fake are the reality TV shows and sitcoms that you love, because those are not the real people, right? Where in a lot of times wrestling mixes in the real people. There's a lot of wrestlers that they're not a weird character that's completely different. They're not the Undertaker, right? They're just John Cena. That's who he is. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Kevin Owens is like 99%.
Right.
The guy you see on TV.
He's probably not as angry.
Probably not.
He's probably that guy. Sami Zayn is definitely that guy. Like you see him in interviews and stuff, and he's just jovial and whatever.
If anything, it's the dangerous combination, at least for the writers, of it is something where they kind of book things out far in advance. They know, like, we plan on doing this, but it's still live sports entertainment where anything can change at any point, right? And also it's live in front of a live crowd. You know, a sitcom has a game plan for their writing, and they do it in a studio in front of nobody, and that's what's going to happen. They decide what's going to happen, and that's what's going to happen. Where if wrestling, which again, it causes stress for the writers, but it's what makes it so unique and fun for the fans. Wrestling has a game plan. They send it out there, and if the live crowd doesn't feel it to a certain extent, we're going to shift. Yep. Right? We had this plan to put the title on you for in this amount of time, but you went out there and the crowd's not feeling what we're doing. Change of plans. You know what I mean? And that's stressful for the performers and the writers. But again, that's what makes, as a fan, it's so you never know. It's so unique.
You definitely see that with heels.
Yeah.
I feel like sometimes people will get booked as heels. And like, I think that they're going into that right now a little bit with Rhea Ripley, where it's like, you're supposed to be a heel, but everyone loves her.
Yeah.
And it's hard to have that balance, or like when you have somebody that is so perfect as a heel and then you try to turn them face. And sometimes that doesn't work.
Or like, if you look over in the other company where they paired MJF and Adam Cole together, and MJF is the most despicable heel of the modern era. But boy, oh boy, are they cheering him with Adam Cole.
Yeah, no, it happens in so many ways. And like, you've heard it even in documentaries and stuff like that. Like, I tend to watch too many wrestling documentaries and not enough actual wrestling.
The way you like to.
That's how I consume it.
That's how you like to consume wrestling.
And a lot of the time you'll have them where like you look at somebody like Roman Reigns, who they've forced to be a face for so long and shoved him down our throats, and we all hated him, and now we're like, the bloodline is amazing.
Yeah.
And it's because they let him do the heel shit. Yep. Same thing with, like, you can't put Randy Orton or The Miz and make them a face, and it doesn't always work. Like, The Miz can sort of pull that off, but it's still like, I hate this guy, but I love this guy, but I hate this guy. Yep. You know? So when you talk about those shifts, I feel like that happens a lot within storytelling, because even like Don Morocco has brought up stuff about how like people were cheering Jimmy Snuka so much they had to make him a face.
Yeah.
They couldn't do anything about it, you know? So that shift happens with even like crowd reaction. And you know, it's hard for us to know sometimes now with the WWE, because I feel like that's the one thing that I can gripe about is the piped in crowd noise.
Yes.
You can't tell how the crowd's actually feeling because of the piped in crowd noise. But boy, oh boy, can you tell in AEW when you have, you know, Anthony Bowens being like, girl, I am gay. And everybody's like, he's gay, he's gay, he's gay. Which is like one of the best things I've ever seen in wrestling. I totally thought that would go a different way, and we're all like pleasantly surprised.
Fantastic.
So
you know, it's even more difficult for writers because of social media, because now we know these people, these performers, as people. We follow them on social media. We see what they're doing, and that plays a role into who we cheer and who we boo sometimes, right? Rhea Ripley is an example of that, because we love her as a person. Now, there's also a side that love her right now for the wrong reasons, because they're
they a little kinked out, you know,
which I'm all for having that conversation. That could be another, you guys know me, that's a whole nother episode.
No, trust me, I am just as guilty for sexualizing Rhea Ripley. I don't know if I want to be her or be with her.
We will save the kinky episode for the Patreon.
Yes, I'm in. I'll be back.
The really big fan podcast After Dark.
I love it. No, but I mean, but that's the thing. Another example right now, and I'm conflicted with how AEW is handling this person, and it's someone I've talked about a lot in my life of talking about wrestling, and that's CM Punk, right? CM Punk has come back, and we love the character CM Punk. I've always said CM Punk's great for wrestling. Phil Brooks is not. You know, he's created a lot of enemies, and the weird part, at least leading up to what we've seen recently from him, he's coming out talking like a face, but getting booed out of the building.
Yeah.
And it's very awkward. And I keep saying he plays a good, and outside of all the real stuff, he plays a good asshole.
Yeah.
Let him play that. The crowd wants to boo him anyway. And that's just a weird thing where it's like you have him coming out pandering to the crowd, and they respond by booing him if they're not in Chicago. And that's just a situation where the writers need to read the room and just say, I get what you thought, and I know he's a big star. He can be a big star and still go the heel route. And side note, AEW Collision is the second best wrestling show in a week.
Fascinating.
That good.
Fascinating.
It is that good.
Because I know for myself, I always catch SmackDown because I'm really invested in the Bloodline stuff.
Yeah.
Raw, not so much. And then AEW on Wednesdays, it depends. But the Saturday show, I've kind of been skipping because it's another 2-hour show on a Saturday. So I'm like, I don't know. And it is funny. I mean, we could talk, this whole CM Punk thing to death, and we used to on the One Fall show. But it's really fascinating to me that they've made this like Saturday night Babygate. Where like if you have said things on social media that have made you a problem, or if you have gotten in a fight with an EVP or something like that, we're just going to let you wrestle on Saturdays for a while.
Well, the crazy part is that, and I mean it is such a good show. It feels like a completely different company. I don't know the ins and outs of who's writing what, but I would bet so much money whoever is writing Collision has absolutely nothing to do with Dynamite.
Yeah.
Because everything that happens on Collision, and I'm a story queen, right? But we all are. We just don't like to admit it, Chuck.
Sure.
It's everything. You understand why everything's happening, and one thing leads into another. We're not having these dream matches just for the hell of it, which they still do on Dynamite. But on Collision, it's like there's a promo, and then hey, next week, that's why this match is happening, right? And it's the pace, the writing. The stars that are on there plays a role in it too, but it has not missed for me. I don't know. I think they're on awesome. Like 6-7 weeks, and whatever it is, they're 7 for 7. And then this week they're doing Punk versus Ricky Starks for the world title, which now has the Punk logo going over. That's such a good angle. I just don't understand how one show can feel so different. You want it to feel different, obviously, from your other, but it feels like a completely different company because Collision's doing this, and then they go, hey, we're having a dream match, Pac versus Gravity on What?
You were waiting for Pac to take on Gravity.
It's Gravity.
It's
Who's that?
I want to know who it is underneath there, because it's got to be somebody that just is wearing a mask.
I guess it's just a luchador.
It blows my mind, right? Like, and honestly, it is a little dangerous because the guys, the big names that you air consistently on Dynamite might suffer from this. The John Moxleys of the world. That's where the Elite and Page and Omega they haven't been on Collision yet, and Collision continues to outperform them. And it's not just a me thing. You go on wrestling Twitter every Saturday, and that's the overall opinion. This feels like a different company, and in a good way for Collision and in a bad way for Dynamite. And Rampage don't even matter anymore, by the way.
Even though it's not a developmental brand, does it feel more like the NXT versus Raw SmackDown in that sense? Because for a while there, when it was the black and gold NXT, that's all everybody ever talked about.
Yeah.
So is it kind of like that, where you're kind of running into Collision being like the NXT, not developmental though?
It is. And it's dangerous that it's not the developmental, because at that point that you're talking about with NXT versus WWE, that was the only thing in that moment that kept it separate and kept WWE above NXT. Is just, we would remind ourselves, as good as it is, as much as we like these guys, it's the developmental, right?
Yeah.
That's not the case here. And that's what makes it more dangerous, because I'm sure there's a good amount of people, because Chuck, you guys both said it, there's a lot of wrestling in a week. We don't have that much time. And there's a lot of people who pick and choose what they watch and don't watch. And I'm confident to say there's a good amount of AEW fans who have taken Dynamite, sure as hell have taken Rampage, off of their watch schedule in favor of Collision.
Yeah.
Because it's that good. But the problem is Dynamite's supposed to be your marquee show. That was the big. Dynamite is what Raw is for WWE. Daryl made that point a couple weeks ago when we were talking about this. They're the baby, they're the marquee show. They're supposed to be treated that way. That's what's on in the middle of the week. Right? Collision's on a Saturday night. Who's at home on a Saturday night? You don't put prime television on a Saturday night from 8 to 10. You don't do that, but that's your more quality show. So at some point, it's going to become a problem. And AEW has a big enough roster, and we've talked about that a lot too. This is where you utilize it.
Yeah.
So whatever you're thinking about, whatever the strategy is for the writing on Collision, do it on Dynamite. And doing it with those wrestlers, and it'll still feel like a different show because you're telling two completely different stories. You're just doing it the right way.
Right.
Well,
You know?
this Saturday is going to be pretty difficult for him because that's when SummerSlam is here
Yeah.
out at Ford Field. So it'll be very interesting. So before we let you go, Justin, we do a segment usually when we're done talking to our guest called What Did We Learn? And I came up with a game for this week's What Did We Learn?
Okay.
Me and Amy both have pads here and Sharpies in front of us. And basically we're going to run down the card for SummerSlam.
Yeah.
And we're going to write down who we think you think is going to win the match.
Oh.
And then you tell us once we're ready, and we'll see who can guess right. Who can properly guess how Justin's mind works.
I love it.
All right. So let's start with Gunther is going to put the Intercontinental title on the line against Drew McIntyre. Who do you think Justin thinks is going to win that match?
I'll give you guys a second to write it down, and then I'll talk.
Let us write it down here.
I want to put a disclaimer because we did do predictions on this week's Raw Around the Ring. That has not been released yet. So for anyone listening, watching,
Sure.
there's no spoilers here. I promise.
Yeah, no spoilers here.
And I
Okay,
really
are
hope
we turning them?
We'll wait for Justin to tell. So who do you think is going to win that match, Justin?
I'm going to go Drew McIntyre. I think this is his moment. I've been yelling for Drew McIntyre to have his moment in front of a crowd. And I think it's part of why he came back to WWE.
Fail.
I got Drew.
I got.
All right.
I got Gunther.
I'm up by one.
He's up by one.
All right.
I also really hope I'm consistent with whatever I said on Raw Around the Ring. We just
Change your
recorded
mind
today,
between
so
shows, it's fine.
All right. We got Ricochet versus Logan Paul. Who do you think Justin thinks is going to win that match? All right. You ready?
Yep.
All right, Justin, take it away.
that'll be Logan Paul. He's taken a lot of losses on WWE TV over the last 6 months or so. And I think this will be the match of the night, by the way, but Logan Paul is going to win.
I had to nauseately write Logan Paul.
Yes, both of us have Logan Paul, so we both get a point. It's 2-1.
My better half is not happy with me on that one because Ricochet is her man and she hates Logan Paul as well. So
I love Ricochet and hate Logan Paul as well. And Logan Paul is one of those people where it's because his outside shit taints his inside shit. Why I don't like him?
Right.
Because I hate that he can do the buckshot. I hate it. I hate it.
It's the only other person that can duplicate the buckshot. Nope. All right. Ronda Rousey is going to fight Shayna Baszler in an MMA rules match this Saturday at SummerSlam. Who do you think Justin thinks is taking that match? All right, Justin.
Gosh, you emphasized MMA rules, and now that makes me want to change my mind. But I'm going to stick. Shayna Baszler needs a big win. Ronda Rousey's probably going away.
We both got Shayna. You got to put it up so the camera can see it there.
Yeah, you can't read it.
There you go.
Oh, beautiful. There you go.
I'm like, I don't even know if I spelled that correctly.
All right, 3-2. We're doing pretty good.
Yeah, not bad.
All right. Talking about the women's roster, we've also got Asuka facing Charlotte Flair and Bianca Belair.
Yikes!
In a triple threat match. So we've got 3 choices to choose from. This is going to be a tough one. All right, I've got my answer.
Yep.
Well, Justin, who do you think?
People aren't going to love this, but I think Charlotte Flair is winning it because I think Bianca's going heel with the Street Profits and Lashley, and this is going to add to it.
Ooh, I like that. All right, well, I guessed Asuka.
I guessed Bianca.
So neither one of us got that one.
They see, when it's not 50-50, I can get you guys.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's absolutely right.
Are we doing the Battle Royal? Because you guys are screwed at that point.
Yeah, well, if we have a tie, then we'll guess for the Battle Royal. So far, I'm up by 1. We got Seth Rollins facing Finn Balor for the World Heavyweight Championship over on Raw. So I'll give you a second here. Figure out who you want to write down here. Are you writing a book over there?
Yes.
All right, Justin, give it to us.
This is the one that I'm most intrigued by because I can see it going either way, but especially with Priest involved. I have a hard time seeing them take it off Seth right now, so Seth Rollins will win.
Seth Rollins. I got Seth.
I got Seth along with ha 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 at the end.
Yeah, he's got to have his he's got to have his laugh in there.
Love Seth.
All right, I think we only got 2 more matches here.
fam.
So we've got Cody Rhodes facing Brock Lesnar in just a regular ass match.
Just a
I
regular.
can't believe that.
Regular ass singles match.
I can't believe
nothing on
that.
the
I cannot
line.
believe they didn't put any stipulation on this.
Yeah.
But little
You drawing me a picture?
No, I was putting little squiggly like on mic, so
Oh,
nice.
Nice.
So there was a noise. All right, Justin, who you got?
Cody Rhodes. I hate that he lost at WrestleMania, so he's got to win this feud.
I said Brock.
I said I guessed Cody.
And I also tried to spell it like Paul Heyman.
Oh, nice.
That was what was taking so long.
Well done. Well done. That was absolutely me guessing what I knew he was gonna say.
I literally thought that he would say, like, if there's nothing on the line,
Then
Brock
Brock
takes it
just
because
beats him up.
there's
That's
nothing
true.
good for Cody and that win other than he
Right.
won.
But
Yeah.
I think they're doing. I don't love that he lost at WrestleMania, not even a little bit. But I think that they're doing this year with Cody what they were hoping to do last year before he got hurt, and that is just give him a solid year of good feuds, win those feuds, and he'll probably be back in the title picture when they get to Philadelphia for WrestleMania.
Gotcha.
Our final match is Roman Reigns versus Jey Uso in a tribal combat match for the undisputed WWE Universal Championship and recognition as the tribal chief.
Oh boy.
Tribal combat just means no holes. You know, it's it's a hardcore match.
Yeah,
No disqualification. They have so many fun ways. It's a street fight.
Right. It is funny how many ways they figure out how to tell you that, like, there's just no rules.
There's just no rules. Great.
There's tables and there's chairs.
As long as it's not a Punjabi prison match, we're fine.
All right, Justin, what are you thinking?
Roman's not booked for the final 3 pay-per-views, at least reportedly speaking, of 2023, just so you know.
Yeah.
I don't know if that changes anything. Jey Uso's not a world champion material right now. He's phenomenal. He deserves this spot. Roman Reigns is retaining. He's going to.
That's
Roman.
both of us got Roman Reigns there.
And I think if I can add a fun prediction,
Okay.
he's getting RKO'd to end the night.
RKO at the end of the night?
Yup.
I hope so.
That would
I
be
think he's
interesting.
taking an RKO at the end of the night.
As stupid as it sounds, like, after I watched his evil documentary, I had way more respect for him.
Yeah.
And once I saw that, then I started liking Randy Orton, which made me really uncomfortable. And now I just want him to come back so bad. And I'm like, what is wrong with me? Why do I like Randy Orton this much now?
You like it when he poses.
His pose. I want him back under one condition, that they don't put him with Matt Riddle ever
Thank you.
again.
Thank you. I'm 100%
I
with
am
that.
blocked by Matt Riddle, by the way.
Good for you.
Yeah,
I
it's
wish
work.
I'm blocked by Matt Riddle and Jonathan Coachman.
And Jonathan Coachman.
That's a random one.
I told him I liked his theme song and that it was a banger, and he responded with, yeah, I get a royalty check for $14 every 3 months. And I think he wasn't allowed to say that. So then he blocked me and deleted the tweet. I'm like,
Interesting.
but your
All right,
song is a
Coach.
banger.
Weirdo.
Hard hitting, back breaking.
It's not bad.
Out the seats.
That's not bad.
It's a good one.
That was a collaborator. It was that Collie Park guy that would do stuff with Bubba Sparks. He did that song.
Okay.
Like, he was part of the production of that. Weird fact.
Shout out to Coach getting the connects, man.
All right,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Justin, let our listeners know one more time where they can find all of your wrestling content.
Yeah, Roar Around the Ring on social media at Roar Detroit with a Motor City Sports Talk. The Roar _Detroit on Instagram. I don't know why they did that. Whatever. RoarDetroit.com. Every Wednesday, there's a new episode of Roar Around the Ring with myself and that dude Daryl Teeler.
Excellent, Justin. Thank you so much for doing the Really Big Fan podcast. We look forward to having you back on real soon.
Yeah, the kinky episode. Can't wait.
Right. Welcome back to the Really Big Fan podcast, and thank you again to Mr. Justin Valentine. Make sure you follow him on the social medias at JV_sports_talk. I believe that's how it's done. Or as he said, check out Roar Detroit for all his interviews he's got to do. A little jealous.
Yeah.
A little jealous he's got to be in the same room as Big E.
Yeah, I feel that.
This is the new day.
Yeah.
But we're not here to talk about jealousy. We're here to talk about our serotonin boost as we wrap up this week's really big fan podcast. I'll go first.
Okay.
My serotonin boost for the last couple of weeks, honestly, has been this app from collectors.com. That's with a Z, collectors.com, called the CLZ app, where you can actually scan your comic book collection in, and it shows you like almost like trading cards, all the covers to it on it, and gives you statistics like which characters you have the most comics of, what year you have the most comics of, and what creators and series you have the most comics of, which is really kind of interesting to see those stats. I've scanned most of my collection. I'm trying to get everything except X-Men in there first, because once the X-Men go in there, they're going to be the top of everything.
Yeah.
So, but I've been posting that on my Instagram.
You said that you noticed that the Optimus Prime didn't come up.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure they don't have any of the Transformers characters as characters that you can have like the most of in that app, because if they had, Optimus Prime or Megatron would have to be in my top 5. I have so many Transformers comics. I did just scan my Turtles comics over the weekend, and like I have more Donatello comics than the other 3, but only like one more comic. and they were all like numbers 5, 6, 7, and 8. Weird.
All right.
So, you know, it's like I said, I've been posting it kind of progress pictures on my Instagram and Facebook for people to see before the X-Men skews all those numbers. But it's been a lot of fun. It's been neat to see what those actual numbers are.
It's got a little scanning noise too, so it's kind of funny.
Yeah, you can either look on the app and put in which issues you have, or you can just scan the barcodes, and it's really fun. It's called CLZ Comics, and I think it's like $15 for a year to subscribe to it. So,
yeah, that's worth it.
Yeah, for $15. Mm-hmm. It's not going to take me a year to scan all my comics. I can get those numbers, and then like at the end of the year, I can just be like, yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, and now you know what's in there.
Yeah, exactly. It's fun.
Mine is gonna be that I reopened my Pokemon Unite after a really long time because I hadn't been playing it.
Yeah.
And they added during the other event that I didn't pay attention to was they were doing like an Eevee event.
Okay.
And so when I logged in, I was like, oh yeah, they did do an Eevee event. Now Umbreon's in here.
Hell
so
yeah.
I bought Umbreon immediately with the coins that I had in there. Now I'm trying to grind to get the Leafeon too. So then I have all the Eevees. But we played the other night and we were both Eevees. And so then somebody else switched from the character they initially picked to an Eevee. So we had an Eevee squad running around.
It was great.
I need there to be somebody that does that for an entire
team.
Whole team.
5 team, because I think there's enough Eevee
is.
evolutions now that you can have a whole team of Eevee evolutions.
Yep, because you've got Sylveon, you've got Glaceon, Leafeon, Umbreon, and what's the other one?
The Icicle one?
No, I already said that one.
Okay.
It was the Psychic one.
Psychic and the Fairy one, I think, are the other two.
Well, Sylveon is the fairy one.
Yep.
The Psychic one, I'm trying to remember what it's
Espeon?
Espeon, there we go.
Hey, all right.
That was like the first one in there, too, and like, could not remember.
5% of my brain taken up by Pokemon knowledge. I'm surprised that I nailed that one.
Right. Oh, yeah, the Pokemon Go is definitely a great one as well to play.
Pokemon Sleep is out.
Yeah, I've not played that.
Yeah, neither one of us have tried it. But
you know, considering how much we sleep.
We sleep a lot.
Yeah.
But then we also just lay in bed and don't sleep a lot. So I think that I don't know how Pokemon Sleep will...
I don't know how that works,
yeah.
But yeah, I got back into playing that. And then when I was at a show recently, one of the other concert photographers is really invested in Pokemon Go.
Oh,
so
nice.
he was like, hey, do you have it? And I go, yeah. And he goes, I need to trade somebody for a shiny. And I was like, okay. And I just like opened my phone and handed it to him. And I said,
you do it.
You do it. I don't know how it works anymore.
Yeah.
And then he was like looking, and apparently like I didn't have anything I could trade with him.
Oh.
So it was like a bummer. But we tried to do just a normal trade to get that thing. But apparently, like, over by the venue, there's multiple Pokestops and stuff, so I never even thought to open it there.
It's really fun that there are so many ways to interact with the Pokemon franchise now.
Yeah.
Like, it's not just the games that are, like, you know, turn-based RPGs.
Yeah.
Like, now there's Unite, which is a League of Legends style game, and there's Pokemon Go, and, you know, there's, like, Pokemon Stadium, which was the fighting game and stuff. There's so many ways.
And now they have clothes, too. Like, I know I talked about the Rocket line before, but I got another ad this morning that I was looking at. There is a bomber jacket that has Charizard embroidered on the back.
Nice.
But it's black with yellow trim. And I was like, oh, come on. You guys are just trying to get me to buy things.
Like a Wu-Tang Charizard.
It kind of has that vibe to it. And there's 2 versions of it. You can either get like the lightweight one or you can get the one with down in it.
Yeah.
So you can wear it in the winter. And I was
Poofy
like,
one.
oh, cool. I don't have $117 right now, but cool.
That's expensive.
That's expensive.
Clothes are expensive.
Yeah, I pay $5 for clothes now. it's fine.
But you can help us pay for expensive clothes by going to patreon.com/reallyBigFanPod. At the $5 tier, not only do you get ad-free versions of these shows, you get our special Patreon exclusive show, the Really Big Fan Podcast double feature with me and Mike Pandoff. As I said at the top of the show, we just recorded the 2nd episode, should be out this weekend. We rank and rate movies, and I got to remember to get on the social media and put the polls up for the movies after the episode is over, so you guys can, those of you who are listening, can say which movie you think was better. So make sure you check us out over there on Patreon. Make sure you check us out on our social media, Instagram, Threads, Twitter. Yes, it's still Twitter to me. It's still Twitter to me, damn it.
The app formerly known as Twitter.
Right.
Me.
Facebook, all those things. Look us up at Really Big Fan Pod, and you can check us out on YouTube. That's where you can find the videos of these on demand, these particular shows.
Yes.
Thanks for hanging out with us for another week, and we'll check you out next week with the Really Big Fan Podcast.
Catch you on the flip side.